BIDI. Malaga, July 13, 2019. Well, BIDI is with you, laughs, and greet you. Laughs. I am happy to be able to talk to you, especially when it is unexpected. Ask questions. Sister, I see the world submerged or in chaos, and I feel happy. I don't feel part of this world. Is that a normal attitude? But it is quite normal that when you leave the dream and the illusion, to feel light, happy. It is not a joy of destruction, but the joy of the appearance of truth. And in the truth, there is no room for anyone. This had been announced many years ago, whether by the elders or the archangels. And today you see the truth of it, to the extent that you consider and live that you are not of this world. You are more and more free, lighter and lighter, and that's normal. And the lighter you are, the more true you are, the more free you are from any reaction, any suffering, any involvement in what is happening on this world, outside you. It's a dream, an illusion. I have always proclaimed it, like the elders and archangels, and today you are living the truth. And the more you let go of any identification or involvement, of attachment to this world, the more you feel free. That makes sense. And I would even say that it is the demonstration that the incarnation is a total dream. You've always been perfect. You've always been whole. You just forgot it. And as the pressure of this world, its organization and everything that is happening is living its chaos, the more free you are. Of course, this is not the case for all dreamers. But you can only notice that the naked joy hatches in you, even if you have never lived anything at the vibrational level or expansion of consciousness. You are the true blessed, because even if it was unconscious, somewhere you have never been fooled by the futility of this world, its links, its obligations. You discover and live true freedom. And it is precisely the chaos of the world that makes you happy. Not by a morbid satisfaction, but because the dream is coming to an end. Only those who still believe somewhere in the truth of this world can be affected, suffer from what they see. It simply shows their attachment to the dream, their attachment to the illusion, because they have not yet turned inside themselves to the truth. We have all said that the unknown becomes known, and that the very circumstances of the chaos of the world naturally led you to no longer adhere to any stories or worlds. This is the beatitude. There is the unspeakable love and the absolute truth. You have proof of this every day, more and more clearly, whatever the state of your own life or of this body that inhabits the consciousness. That's normal. That was desirable. And I would say that, even on the level of this world, it is totally logical. Only the one who is chained to the dream, who believes he has anything, has not yet realized and understood that he is possessed by this world. You prove somewhere, for those who felt uncomfortable or sick in this world, you understand that the cause of your misfortune was only the presence of this world and your own presence as a dreamer. Joy and lightness are the indisputable proof that there is no longer any attachment to illusion and dream, as to everything that happens. You can only recognize yourself, and this recognition of the unknown, you recognize it. You know who you are. You are not of any world, form or dimension. You have gone through all the possible dreams, all the illusions of creation. And as has been explained, it is here in this dream that you realize the dream, and that you realize that you have never been this body, this form, or your history. It is a relief, from the moment you have never felt part of this world, that you really realize that this world was a nightmare, no matter how beautiful it may be. This is where it all started. It is here that the dream ends, and the truth is fully revealed because you live it. The witness is the liveness, the joy without object, whatever your perception, whatever your sensitivity. You can only notice that you find yourself. You're anterior to consciousness, anterior to light and anterior to the first form. This relaxes any pretensions. It puts an end to habits, to ultimate beliefs and to final doubts. You can only strengthen yourself in this naked joy every day with more and more certainty. Silence. We can question. Sister, by making a crystal protocol, I had a persistent smell of rose, a persistent smell of rose. Of rose? Sister, of rose, yes. Thank you for sharing your lived experience. I will simply remind you that at the level of the siddhis, the powers of the soul, the clarity, the fact of feeling the mystical smells is the most subtle meaning, since at that moment, you feel what is called the essence, prior to the form, and which accompanies the first manifestations of what has been called creation. It doesn't matter if that smell is from you or related to what is called an entity. But it shows that you have contracted what has been called the spirit, or Brahman. You're at the junction through this simple smell, which in this case manifested itself with crystals. If I can put it that way, you stand at the edge of Parabrahman, at the edge of Parabrahman and total freedom. Silence. That's what it means, that's what you've been through. And if I do not make any difference today between your essence and the essence of any entity, it is because there is only one consciousness. You find fragments of yourself, of others you in another form or dimension. It is the return to the natural state that you unintentionally triggered by this practice of crystals. But it can happen to you in countless circumstances where you are really and concretely and simply in the present instant. We have always told you, for more than a year, that today it was extremely simple, that it was enough to accept to go through everything that belongs to the person, to your history or to history, to be free. The crystals, in your case, have simply allowed you, independently of their own effect, to get as close as possible to zero time or the heart of the heart. This will happen more and more often, for countless brothers and sisters, and in countless ways, as soon as there is either silence, acceptance or embrace in you, without asking you any questions. Time zero, the good news, is for everyone. But how do you want to live it if your consciousness is too strongly attached to some element of your history, your body or the history of the world? That is why those of you who have long wondered what you were doing on this world have the most possibilities today to live the absolute. They are no longer their lives, but they are life. Silence. From now on, in all the circumstances and events of your lives, accept that these are only pretexts, circumstances that are there only to make you live the truth that you are. The intelligence of the light will do everything so that many events in your lives, your bodies, your relationships, everything that can happen in your life, is ultimately there only to make you discover and live the truth. So don't reject anything. Accept everything without understanding anything. And you are the truth. And your joy, and you live agape. You can only recognize yourself, as you no longer recognize yourself in everything that is happening in this world. That's normal. That's how it was supposed to happen. Some archangels had announced it to you even before arrived in 2012, more than 10 years ago. All this has been marked out. And for those of you who have followed a spiritual path and who could not find answers, today the answer is given to you. This ends the quest. This puts an end to the suffering. This puts an end to the last beliefs. And you discover yourself, the absolute I, the eternal I. In short, you're free. No obstacle in this world, no imbalance in your body, can limit or hinder the discovery of the truth. It happens to everyone in all the circumstances of your lives. And the more you accept, the freer you are. I say to you again, don't believe me, but on the contrary check it, in the last things you care about, whether it's your body, your life, your home, a job or whatever you care about. Because it is precisely through what holds you that you discover and live that you are held by nothing. Each of you, whatever you think, whatever you say, has exactly the same possibility. But if you don't accept it, how do you even want to live it? All the challenges of your body or your life, of whatever nature, are precisely the play of the light, of his intelligence, to demonstrate it to you and make you live it. You're the intelligence of the light. It's as simple as that. And if, however, you accept and nothing happens, I can guarantee you, assure you, that you have not really accepted, that's all. There is no other alternative. That's the way it is for everyone. You have no choice. You can only suffer until you have verified who you really are. That is why we have been saying for many months that, whatever the event, happy or unhappy, either you're real and you accept, and you live agape, or you think you're detached, but you are not. There is a need for a lot of openness, honesty, and humility about yourself. Silence. If you really accept, you are free instantly. It is not a promise that extends over time, that is not for tomorrow, but that is for the instant present. In the previous question, whatever you have experienced with crystals, it was enough that your consciousness was busy with a protocol, that your body was motionless, that your eyes were closed, that you were silence, without any idea of meditation, prayer or asking for the truth to burst in. This applies to everyone. I repeat this regardless of your living conditions, beliefs or apprehensions. Settle down here now, without asking for anything, without waiting for anything, without deriving your consciousness from any sensation, and the truth is there. It's so simple. It is so true that the difficulty in reality is simply to be oneself in this simplicity, in this embrace, to live it instantly. Silence. We can question. Sister, in general, I'm at peace, physically, with ease, in periods of willingness to be silent, mental silence, in the presence of sensations in my chest, expansion and joy in my head. For a few months now, when I enter in silence, I feel the crowns of my head. Thank you. It's a testimony, it's not a question. Sister, it's a testimony. Thank you very much. But of course, and you stipulated, that even when you're always in joy, in peace, you can see that sometimes you need your character and that in these cases, you take on the role of the character. But the big difference is that you are no longer identified with this character. And that the more joy is installed, the more the character can in no way disturb you. This is also proof that you are the eternal I, no matter what role or function you play within the dream. It also translates even within the character, a form of acceptance, of transparency, where you discover that even this character in the moment when you play it, is much freer than before. It gives you a new comfort and ease in the character's game. This can only strengthen you in the acceptance that you are this eternal I, and not a function or role that you could play again. And this increasingly disconnects you from the rules and laws of duality. And if you are sincere there too, you can only notice, beyond the crowns for those who feel them, beyond peace or joy, that everything that can happen in your character is also more and more fluid and lighter there. Whether you are sick or not, whether you are accompanied or alone, whether you have children or parents to look after, you live the character's dream more lightly. It's further proof that you found each other. You have put an end to oblivion. You remembered while living it, that you were nothing of suffering, that you were nothing of diseases, that you were nothing of the annoyances or obligations of this world, that you will cross there too with increasing ease. But you will also notice that, if at times the old character falls back into certain habits, that joy disappears instantly until you readjust your positioning. The game becomes easier and easier for the one who has recognized himself, and more difficult for the one who refuses his own truth. And it is precisely this game, between the ephemeral and the eternal, that you find yourself in. When you stop complaining to yourself or to others about anything, when you sincerely accept everything, you will only find that everything is going well. Whatever your doubts, whatever your questions, you discover that there are no other ways than spontaneity, simplicity, and real humility. I have already said it. Everything that has to happen will happen no matter what you do, and everything that doesn't have to happen won't happen no matter what you do. When there is any desire in you to change elements or things that were previously easy from the character, you can only notice that in those moments, it no longer works. And that the more you accept, the more you let go, the more these elements of the dream, eliminate themselves, without you, and especially not with your character, especially not with your usual reflexes, and especially not with the will. The ego will whisper to you that it's not possible, that's its role. But today you see your own character, your own agitation, your own last habits, and you can only laugh about it. And that's how you cross over. Accept everything and everything will be given to you. Regroup or fight, and you will experience suffering. It's never a punishment. You don't make mistakes. But this is the final game between truth and illusion. Silence. Each of you, at any age, can observe, notice, always the same scenario. Either you let go or you hold on. If you let go, there is peace. If you don't let go, the pain is there. You decide, no one else. You are totally free to do so. You're the one who's positioning yourself. And don't go blasting or regimber against your body, or against anyone. Accept that everything is there, even the biggest trouble, just to make you free, and you are free instantly. It's really that simple. The mechanism at work on Earth in everyone is identical. The personal circumstances are only your decor, your conditions that you have set yourself, especially when you do not understand. Accept to live it, without opposing yourself, without understanding, without wanting to solve anything, and you will find that everything resolves itself. This is no exception. You're all on an equal basis. The particular circumstances of your body or your life are only what you wrote before you even participated in the dream, not only in this life, not only in this world. You're really and concretely ever, and that's all. Accept this without asking anything, and you are free. Only the one who is tortuous or who cares about his life freezes himself and prevents himself from living it, no matter what he says. These are just excuses. Accept that it is you who have written everything, prepared everything, to be in the best conditions to live agape. That's all. Everything else is just passing through. Everything else is just the person's positioning, strategies of fear, self-limitation or self-sabotage. That's all. This is all. Do not conceive of it as guilt or seek any cause. I assure you that you are the one who wrote your script, before demonstration, as before world. Even if you don't believe it, even if you try to reject it, you can only recognize yourself. And when you have recognized yourself, you can only laugh at your character's own postures, your story. Accept freedom and you are free. Accept the truth and live it. Silence. It's simple. I have told you, no rule of this world, no morality, no will for good, no desire for good, nor anything you still hold dear, can prevent you from being the truth. Check it out. Let's ask questions. Silence. Sister, we know that suffering is useless. So, we who work as therapists, we wonder, should we continue to try to help them to those who, or would it be better than to stop doing therapies? There is no question of changing anything about what you do and are in this character. You talk about therapy. Always use your techniques, but hold your patients in your arms. They will be free. This will not prevent either from helping their person, from healing them. But it all depends on the therapist. There is no point in getting into the head that you have to stop this or that to be free, since everything is in its right place. It is no longer time to want to change activities, places, husbands, wives, or who knows what. It's just time to accept. If you accept without question, you will be 10 times more effective, whether you use a scalpel, or any therapy. Therapy, dual in nature, is not an obstacle. The only obstacle is you. And on the contrary, take advantage of this helping relationship to be free. Here too, it is enough to accept the role of the character, to accept that the one who comes to see you is you, just you. If you see it that way, the technique you use is just a set. If you are truthful, whoever comes to you for help, if you are spontaneous, whether you use a crystal or a scalpel or words, you will free him. Not by technique, but by your attitude, your kindness. The other one is you. And if you are therapists today, it is because you must recognize yourself in the other before you even use your knowledge or practices. You'll then find that your words, your scalpel or your crystals or something else, are only a pretext. But who would want to stop being this or that if not the person? I repeat, your person, the setting, all the settings you see and experience are only there because you wrote it that way. There is nothing to change except yourself. Effortlessly. All you have to do is embrace, without putting the therapist's posture in front or the one who knows. But accept that the other is you, and you will be contaminated, by joy, by agape, whatever you do. This is also awfully simple. But if you believe today that you need to change more than just your way of seeing things, you're wrong. I repeat. You wrote your own script yourself, since the first entry into the dream, and especially at the end of the dream, since you are Eba, and Eba keeps repeating to you that it is a video game. Even if it seems crazy to you, it's the truth. Be fully present in the present moment, but also in your life as it is. And you will live your life. But if you have any questions, if you want to change the setting, based on what I just said and you have to check, then you're wrong every time. Acceptance is also the acceptance of the setting, of all your living conditions, whatever they may be. It's because of them. Even if you're ill today, it is the pretext you have written to find yourself, totally. There is no mistake possible. Everything is in its right place, everything is perfectly in its right place, and especially if you think it is not the case. You can be sure that it could only be like that. So you release the pressure, you release the stress, you release your will, you end the desire to change anything, and you are free. And at that moment, the light will indeed be able to clean up or change the scenery, but it is not up to you. Check it out. The more you accept absolutely everything, the lighter you are, the happier you are. And that's the way it is for everyone. And it is precisely through what you think is missing that you discover yourself complete. This is the strict truth that each of you can verify at any time. Do it. Do it. Look in your life at what bothers you the most, what seems to miss you the most. Be lucid and simply accept and you're free, really. It's as simple as that, but as long as you care about yourself, or anything else, you can only say it's not possible or say I'm not living it. In fact, in these cases, you only lie to yourself, and at the very least you lie to the intelligence of the light. You're the one who creates the distance, not the circumstances of your life or your body. There is nothing left that separates you from yourself except what you believe, what you value, or what you reject. Accept it, and you'll see. Silence. Very quickly you will pass from laughter, tears, suffering to laughter, joy, love, as if you had done an about-face, and this can be totally instantaneous. Truly. If it seems to you that it is too slow or that it does not happen, the only person responsible but not guilty is you. You didn't recognize yourself in what is there, whatever your decor, whatever the conditions. Freedom is the same for everyone, because there is only one. There is only one conscience. And there's no one there. Silence. Let's continue. Sister, while I was receiving the information from the quarks and the triangulation of the Hardkekra, I began to see each of the elders and geneticist mothers who approached me and entered my heart, in the heart of my heart. And then, each one entered my heart and I entered a great black light. It's a testimony. I don't know what you call triangulation of the heart, but it doesn't matter. When you see the elders, the stars, or a brother or sister from here or elsewhere entering your heart, it is simply the moment when you understand, even if it seems to you that there is a movement, that not only have they always been in you, but they are you, really. And as you say, after that, it's much more than white heaven. What you have called the dark light is the junction of being and non-being, and it is total freedom. reabsorbing the essences, seeing the elders or a brother or sister enter you precisely puts an end to the idea of being separated, to the idea that there is you and others, and you understand by living it that others are you. Truly and concretely. You just accepted it. They revealed themselves and you woke up. The heart of the heart is active and very quickly, the fire of the sacred heart, as Epa says, will become your daily life no matter what you do. You will feel this impulse, this light that emanates from you and brings everything back to you. It's just you. You dreamed the world, you dreamed creation, and you come out of the dream. It's your way of doing it on your stage. It's your decor. That's what you wrote. It can only make you light, happy, and free. The heart will never be able to close or limit itself again, because as much as it has sometimes been difficult to see certain conditioning, certain habits, certain beliefs, as much as it is easy to live the truth. Silence. Let's ask questions. Sister, there are no more questions. Silence. So if there are no more questions, if you're in silence, we will just check together that there is no one. You don't have to do anything. I have nothing to do but to be in silence and decide to embrace. That's all. This is it. And so, BIDI is in you. Silence. I will end with these words, my intervention and my demonstration, with this. It is in silence and acceptance of what is, as well as what is not, that you live the truth and that you are the truth. Nothing else is necessary, especially not your will, still less your desires, and even less your quest. Because when you are looking for yourself, you simply do not accept that you are already there. Prove it to yourself, as I just did. BIDI will therefore greet you and stop there these words, to live my presence and your presence in the heart of your heart. Don't forget that I decreed a few months ago that I'll be there at 11 o'clock p.m. This silence and embrace we have lived will of course continue. So I wish you joy, beatitude, happiness, and the greatest of peace. BIDI thanks you. Sisters and brothers together. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Applause. Through Jean-Luc Young. Les Transformations. English translation, LMF.